8th webinar of this Saturday webinar series. I am Sakshi Pundir, a research intern at Manage CIA. Manage CIA is a center of excellence in agribusiness incubation hosted at the National Institute of Agricultural Extension Management, Manage. It is a prominent agribusiness incubator in India, having guided 940 entrepreneurs and nurtured over 468 startups across various agri-related sectors. Our center has played a pivotal role in training startups in agri-processing, post-harvest technologies, value addition, farm mechanization, animal husbandry, fisheries, dairy, commodity trading, supply chain management, and agri consultancy. The center has provided unwavering support to agripreneurs, helping them refine their concepts and expand their ventures. Today's session revolves around the theme of celebrating women in agri-startup ecosystem, startups working with FPOs. We are delighted to have two esteemed speakers with us. Now, I would like to invite my fellow colleague to introduce our first speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's webinar session, Ms. Anjali Rose, co-founder of Krishi Carbon. Ms. Anjali ma'am is a passionate social entrepreneur and strategic leader focused on driving sustainable change through innovative solutions. As the co-founder of Krishi Carbon and Gramya Ventures, she is dedicated to empowering smallholder farmers in India by fostering climate resilient income streams. Her work bridges the gap between rural development, entrepreneurship, and environmental sustainability, aiming to impact over 100 million farmers, including farmer producer organizations, FPOs. With a rich background in social initiatives, project management, and organizational development, she has led large-scale projects in education, rural outreach, and climate adaptations. Also at Byju's, she contributed to strategic planning and project management for social initiatives that reached underserved communities also. As a firm believer in women entrepreneurship, she commits to empowering rural women and driving inclusive growth in Bharat, rural India. Now we are excited to have her today and look forward to her through provoking presentations. Please join me, ma'am, in welcoming ma'am, Anjali Rose, ma'am. Thank you. It's up to you, ma'am, now.
Thank you so much. I'll share my screen. I think it's visible, right? Is my screen visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank
Webinar,
you so much.
Madam, sorry to interrupt. Like webinar
Yeah.
poster is visible. So is that start of your
Yes. Yes.
presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, thank you very much, like for this invitation and like the recognitions and the shout out you have given. And I'm very privileged for this opportunity. This is one of my like first, like very first interaction as a speaker, like on this level. So thank you so much. So I'm Anjali, and I'm co-founder of Krishi Carbon, and you'll see the name and you'll have like the some of the glimpse of what do we do. So in the Krishi we have put SHE, which definitely means like we are focusing on the women farmers, and to come to like this niche and like focusing on the women farmer has a thesis and the story in itself. So basically, after traveling to 10 plus states, interacting with multiple people and the multiple farmers with different backgrounds, including the largeholder farmers, smallholder farmers, and the marginal farmers. We realized the people or in the farming community, the one at the marginal or the smallholder farmers, so who have the small land holdings like 1 acre or 2 acre. So what happens is the male in the family migrate to the nearby cities to earn the alternate livelihood, and women are the one who are left with the least amount of the resources and the more and more responsibilities. So these are the women who are managing the households also and the agriculture also, doing the 80% of the work in the agriculture. But still, when we think of the agriculture, so the first thing that comes to our mind is a male farmer. when 80% of the work in the agriculture is done by the female farmers. Another thing that we recognize is like, oh, since almost all the work is done by the female farmer, but there are no land rights and there is no inclusion in the policy for the female farmers. So that's how the Krishi. For the carbon, we'll go ahead in the journey and how the carbon came on. So with the feminization of agriculture is happening, more and more work is done by the women. Women are the closest interactor with the natural resources in terms of agriculture. Say it like it is the soil or water or the climate that is there. So women are the closest interactor. So whenever there is a abrupt climate change or whenever there is an extreme weather event or something like that, so women are the one who gets most affected by the climate crisis or the climate change. And there are like figures around it, like how the child marriages go up whenever like there is a climate crisis, and how it affects the nutrition and the health and like across all the sectors that is there. The problem or the gap we are trying to address is the climate inequity that is there in the overall the climate space and in agriculture, because the women are the closest interactor. Again, like if we talk about the agriculture only, so climate and agriculture has like very close relationship, right? So if there is like change in climate, then the farmers get affected. And as a result, farmers get affected. Farmers use more and more chemicals to deal with, because there is no specific guidance, we can say, or scientific methods of the agriculture. There is limited access to it, and it results in more and more emissions. So basically, there happened something in the climate change, then the farmers revert back, and it again like hit to the farmers. So it's one of the sector, you can say, which is like affected by the climate change and also affects the climate change. So agriculture is like the one of the emitters, but it also gets like the affected by the climate change. But also, like if we look at the positive sides out of all the emissions that are happening in the top five, we realized that there are some industries where there are unavoidable emissions that are happening. But if we talk about agriculture and if we talk about the farmers, so they have the greatest resource in terms of sequestering the existing the CO2 emissions that are happening, like in terms of the climate change or sequestering the carbon dioxide. And almost like everywhere we talk about the climate change, and whenever we talk about the climate, we have so much of the negative perspective kind of for the carbon. But when the carbon gets sequestered in the soil, so soil is like soil is like rejuvenated, and this is like how the carbon can help like the soil. So this is the overall thing like we are trying to do. So the next thing was like to reach the maximum number of farmers, and that's how like we thought like the NGOs could be one of the, or the existing FPOs could be the one of the mediums. But again, we found like there is inequity like the entire like FPO ecosystem also like in India. If we So one of the things, like the total number of, so this is some stats, some data, which is there just to highlight and just to show like where is the inequity and what's the size of inequity like in the visible manner. So in the overall like FPO ecosystem we talk about, so there are some 16,000 FPO which are registered, and after the government launched the 10,000 FPO schemes, so number of FPOs like basically went up. So the for the in the all the FPOs, so if we talk about, so there are like the male majority FPOs. So this is the amount of the male majority FPO like that is there like in the entire ecosystem, and this is the female FPO like that is there. So if you look at the overall picture of the FPO ecosystem, so this is the inequity like that is like very visible. Also, if we talk about the active FPO, there is like some kind of transaction going on or some kind of activities are going on. So this is the total amount of FPO. Again, the male FPOs, if we talk about the male majority FPO and the female majority FPO, already like we have like another set of like inequity that is there. So this is the one thing like about the inequity that we found like in the FPO ecosystem. But still like believing, because FPO is one of the tools that give the smallholder farmers the power of negotiation and the greater strength in terms of selling prices also, and negotiating with the buyers also, helping community in terms of maybe like the post harvest activities, you can say, fetching the better prices. So FPO have like leverage, and the farmers who are like in FPO have the leverage. So we looked at the overall ecosystem, and if one FPO is self-sustainable, that means the 10,000 farmers who are connected with the FPO are self-sustainable. So we looked like more deeper into this scenario, and if we talk about the revenue active, like the revenue generating FPOs, so there are only 13 FPOs which have like the turnover greater than 13 crores. If we do it like 1 crore seems like a big amount, right? But if there are like 10,000 farmers in one FPO and the revenue is 1 crore, so per farmer it's just 1,000 rupees if you look at the distribution, right? So there are like just 13 FPOs which have like this kind of turnover, 1 crore kind of turnover. So there is I think like we realize like there's a difference between what's like the on the ground and what kind of support like on paper FPO is supposed to provide to the farmers, and like the ground reality also. So out of 16,000 FPOs which are registered and then active FPOs, and now we have trickled down to just like 13 FPOs. We have like the turnover greater than 1 crore. So also if we talk about like the larger picture in the global climate finance inequity, so women being the most like affected by the climate change, so only 2% of the national climate plans which are there, so that mentions goals, and less than 4% of the climate finance projects, but basically there are the leaders are the girls, or it mentions some kind of like the saying or maybe like some kind of advocacy about the girls. So it's just less than 4%. Yes. So our solution, what we realized is like we are unlocking the carbon finance for the climate equity. Basically, the polluter pays. So this is how like we are in the layman language we are trying to solve. So this is a like interesting model, somewhat like but there are so many factors and so many people that are there in the player. So it might be like for the understanding purpose. So we developed community-centric carbon project. We are the Krishi Carbon, and we developed the community-centric carbon project. So by community-centric carbon project, what I mean is the projects which cater to the needs of the community, and the projects which specifically caters to the whatever is happening. How do we leverage the existing ecosystem that is there and make the project and get some revenue or create some kind of resources for the FPO. So we partner with the FPOs, and FPO become our implementation partner. So suppose there is a women farmer like in XYZ village of Jharkhand, then she joins, like she's already part of FPO or she joins the FPO. Then we provide the agronomy services in the physical model to the women farmers, and also whatever the support is required for the carbon farming, all the resources that are required for the carbon farming. At this stage, we are going with the least behavior change, like the kind of, if the farmer is doing this activities, we intersect at some points, like make this small change and you can save like this much of the GHG emission, and we will quantify like in the carbon credits or carbon, and so this is the amount of money we can transfer back to the farmers or the community. So this is the whole thing we are working on. So the farmers adapt regenerative agriculture, sustainable agriculture method, because one of the things, the challenges, obviously, like we know the sustainable agriculture is the answer, or regen agriculture is the answer, but the adaptability has been a major challenge, like for all of us, and like in terms of who have been working in agriculture. One of the reasons was the proper hand holding support for a long term. Farmer try to do the sustainable agriculture, incur some time some type of loss in terms of yield reduction or the income reduction. And the first thing like they do is like go back to the chemical intensive farming, get to the income which is there. If there is 20,000 reduction, put some more chemicals and get to the back to the 20,000. So this is the entire ecosystem. So we do the project reporting, and the project reporting we are using the satellite data, which is there. Also, like for the back history of the project, we use the satellite data. What were the practices that were happening earlier, and what are the practices that has been like introduced? Do the spectral imaging, get the historical data and the changes in the images to create a strong project. So this is like after our intervention, these are the changes that has been happening like on farm level. And so the issuance agency like develop a project and get the project instituted. So generally in terms of the carbon project, so we require like a large number of data. Like it's like the tracking each and every like activity on farm and cross-checking the activity with the satellite data. So it's like if you put some fertilizer today, then we have to track this. If you use 20 kgs or the 19.5 kgs, and we cross-check with the satellite image. So that is the kind of activity, or that is the kind of traceability we have. So in the long term, so provide a traceable supply chain. So this is the carbon footprint of your food, and if you could and talk to the institutional buyer to get some premium prices for the farmers. So that will also increase the income of the farmers. Also, we sell the carbon credits to the emitters, as I mentioned, who have like unavoidable emissions. For example, the aviation industries, and we pass the money back to the farmer. So here the money is passed back to the farmer. Also like on the long term, generally the duration of the carbon project is 15 to 20 years. And once the project is verified, so if there is one income like 3,000 or 4,000, so farmer will be getting that income for 20 years. And that is like the incentives that we are talking about missing in the sustainable agriculture space, and the proper support that we were talking about, and the appetite to take a risk, like to go into the sustainable farming. So that amount will solve for that. So next is the potential of one carbon project. We define it. So it's a like huge potential, and we are looking at the lower side of the things that we have. So if we are partnering with one FPO, and the number of active farmers that are there are 5,000 farmers, and average land size if we take is like 10,000 acres. For like if each farmer, like the average land size is 2 acres, then the total land that we are talking about is the 10,000 acres. And on the lowest side, with the minimum interaction at starting, and if we are doing just like some practices, like whenever, like keeping the soil covered for the entire time, the cover cropping, that might also provide like the additional income by selling or using as the animal fodder. So this is the one credit is the on the lower side we are looking at. So one credit can be obtained like from the per acre. So we are talking about 10,000 credits, and so the current price of the carbon credit for the agriculture is $20. So we are talking about we are talking about $2 lakh of the income for one FPO, which is like 1,69 lakhs, almost like 2 crores of the annual turnover we are talking about. And I mentioned like the duration of the carbon project or life cycle of the carbon project is for 20 years. So once the project gets verified, so this is the annual turnover with the adoption of the sustainable agriculture that a FPO can get. And think about the kind of unlocking it can do for the community, and kind of resilience it can provide to the community, starting from the community based resources, access to the credit to the farmers, and creating like investing more and more health loan, education loan, credit access that it can provide for the farmers. So this is the scope, or this is the vision we are having like for the FPOs. And currently we're working with some FPOs, and so these 894 FPOs that we're talking about, the women. So our aim is to like the 100 million farmers, and do the 894 FPOs that are there. If we could like get into the touch like all the FPOs, at least like that's like the lifetime goal that's there like of the Krishi Carbon. Yes, so these are the some of the practices that are there, and the amount of the carbon credits that can be like done from these activities. So one is the localized state of art biochar production. So these is to go with the first the region, interact at the minimum, then invest in the facilities and the produce biochar for the crop residue management. And this is and generally for the depending upon the for the amount of time the carbon is being sequestered and how much stable form is there, so carbon credit price varies, right? So for example, for biochar, if we are hitting like the pyrolysis and like lesser and lesser amount of the carbon oxygen we are giving, so the bio from the biomass to the biochar, so it's going to be like the lesser so it's going to be like more stable, so the carbon credit price will like increase, right? Basically, so we are talking about if the biochar, so the price of the carbon credit goes up to $300. So that's the amount of money we are talking about, like for one farmers. And if you're doing it with the farmers, like the chili farmers or the cotton farmers, and we are doing the proper residue management, then the additional income can go up to like 50,000 to 60,000 per farm. So that's the amount we are looking at. Again, like the cover crop and the kind of like the credits it can generate, and the precision fertigation. So we are starting with the simple soil testing only, and optimizing the fertilization uses. So the thesis is not to go from 100 to 0. We want to go from 100 to 80, then 75, and gradually over the period of time, without creating any troubles for the farmers, without reducing any yields or the incomes. If in the 10 years, if we can gradually move to the natural farming, if we can gradually go to the to the natural farming, that's the thesis. Yeah, so currently our work in progress, so basically different kind of project in the different states we are piloting. So we are doing with Cine. So this is the region agriculture project, and doing the same practices as cover cropping and the precision fertilizer uses, and using the satellite data to calculate the deficiency of the nutrients and which nutrients needs to applied in which area of the field. And with Pradhan, we are like signing the low carbon footprints mulberry production, and another production of the like making the carbon footprints like lower and lower for agriculture. For Pasidi Panta, so the whole point is like to the residue management of the like for the chili farmers and the biochar intervention with the Pasidi Panta. So these are the kind of projects we are looking at today. Yes, and for all the data that I have used, I put some resources. Yes, that's all from my side. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, dear Anjali madam. You have wonderfully started with feminization of farming community, which holds deep sense of truth. Thereafter, you have stated the effect of climate change, especially in women, which is most underrated issue currently everywhere in the globe. Also, the point that you focused on intervention of FPOs, especially with very few women, is really a very touching thing. But I hope in future we get more number of women FPOs actively participating in every farming sector. And your business model related to community centric carbon project involving FPOs is truly an inspiring model, which is focusing on two major issues, that is women in farming community and the carbon emission control. That has been very informative, madam. I hope all our attendees have gained deep sense of insights in this particular unexplored area of agriculture. Thank you, madam. And to continue this webinar, I would like to welcome Ms. Ishika Gupta to introduce our second speaker.
Just one second. The questions we take now or like later? I think
Madam, we will take the questions after second speaker's presentation. So I request you to stay online.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ishika Gautam, and as we continue to recognize the incredible contribution of women in shaping the future of agriculture and technology, I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Rajal Patkar, co-founder and CEO of Proximal Soil Science Technologies Private Limited, a company that has been at forefront of developing low-cost point-of-care diagnostic technologies for agriculture. With over a decade of experience in the industry, her work focuses on advancing smart soil monitoring systems that enable precise irrigations, ultimately improving the livelihoods of farmers. Ms. Patkar has completed her PhD degree from IIT Bombay, where her research focused on developing cutting-edge technologies to tackle some of the most pressing challenges faced by farmers today. Her innovation have been successfully piloted through FPO and are now set to scale, aiming to reach farmers across India. Her passion lies in creating affordable and accessible technologies that not only increases agricultural productivity but also improve profitability and sustainability for farmers. Through her entrepreneurial journey, she continues to empower the agricultural community with solutions that have a lasting impact. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Rajal Patkar. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shika, and thank you, Manage team, for inviting me. And glad to meet Anjali here. I think I see some of the synergies here. So let me share my screen and start this. Is my screen visible in the full screen mode? Is it visible?
Yeah, ma'am, it is
Yes,
visible.
ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So thanks, Manage. And so this is your Saturday's webinar are really good. I think once in a while I have attended some of your webinars. So as a soil sense, I think Ishika has already introduced, but what we do as a soil sense is we want to provide an integrated platform to people in agriculture community. So for example, it could be farmer producer organizations, or it could be agri enterprises, it could be self-help group women farmers, FPCs, and foundations. So our platform is kind of helps them understand the whole soil monitoring ecosystem, right? So here we are also working with a lot of FPOs and self-help group and FPCs. And we are also working with foundations who are indirectly working with this kind of groups, and they are kind of our implementation partners. So as a soil sense, I mean, as an individual, I started my agriculture journey way back in 2011 with my PhD at IIT Bombay. I'm an engineer by profession, but I felt that there's a huge need for developing indigenous technologies in agriculture. Sensors, we are all dependent on imported technologies and like very conventional kind of whatever we have been doing. But I think we needed something very indigenous, built for countries like India, for small farmers. So our major mission is whether can we build affordable, accessible, and easy to use technologies. We don't have skilled person in a village, or we don't have all-time electricity. So our technologies should be electricity independent. Our technologies should be so simple that maybe a rural school student or a woman farmer or anybody from that village should be able to use it and help the women, help the whole agriculture community. So what we have done is, I think Anjali has already brought out the importance of soil testing and how soil testing can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and can also help in generating carbon credits. I think that path is very clear. But to do a soil testing, we just can't rely on the satellite data. We all know that satellite data will take a lot of time to gain accuracy, and satellite data needs to be also correlated with on-ground chemical-based soil testing. So what we did is, there are challenges in soil testing. So what we wanted to build a very compact soil testing device, just like a glucometer. Anybody can use it. No electricity needed. So that's the first product you see is a NutriSense, just like a glucometer, a very compact instant soil testing device, which is validated by an agriculture university in India, very well reputed, and it is more than 85 to 90%. So we have moved lab to lab on a farm, right? Then we also have moisture IoT systems. We realize that IoT systems are not helpful for small farmers. I think water reduction also might add to carbon credits, right? This also, we built a mobile kind of IoT in a box, which is simple IoT device. Now it's a 50-100 gram device that can be carried to the farm. Again, these women farmers. So we are actually working with women farmers in Gujarat for moisture monitoring. So they take this device to the farm, collect the moisture data, and they have already showed reduction in the water and improvement in yield. Similarly, we also realize water quality monitoring. So that is a new product that is going to come. So these are different products. Now, going not into like all other details, I will tell you how we are implementing. So FPOs or FPCs or self-help group or a rural youth or an agripreneur is an implementation partner for soil sense. We don't want to be everywhere. There are people already on the ground who are the best to integrate with. They understand farming better. They have huge experience. And so what we do is, like, for example, Anjali said she is working with CINI. We are also working with CINI. We are also working with a lot of women farmers. There's a women farmer-based farmer producer organization in Maharashtra, Bosco Gramin. We are working with them. We are working with Krishami. We are working with a lot of foundations all across 11 states in India. In fact, our technology has also reached beyond India, like in Africa and in Uzbekistan, 8 different countries. So how we do is, as a soil sense, we actually, FPOs are the people who are on ground interacting with farmers. So they become enablers for us, for our technologies, right? Apart from this, just the technology will not help. So technology, advisories, then what needs to be done, all that is actually done through FPOs. So we have our own platforms, mobile app, dashboards, which helps them reach more farmers, see their data, interact with them, right? So FPOs are bridging the gap between soil sense and the farmers. So they are actually our bridge. So since we are majorly focused on soil monitoring and soil testing, I think we all know, whoever are attending here, if they understand agriculture, they understand the complexity in soil testing. They understand what's the problem currently as an Indian agriculture community is facing with respect to soil testing. And Anjali, I think, would know better. She is also on the ground. So 90% of the farmers do not have access to soil testing. And unless we bring in all those farmers, create awareness to do soil testing, I think our carbon credits and all these things will also not take, because unless they do soil testing, unless we can track how much greenhouse gas emissions we have reduced, it will not make actually all these models will not sustain. So all these are the problems. Soil samples has to be sent to a lab. The lack of trust and accuracy in soil testing, the farmers do not understand. Even if you do soil testing and if they don't follow the recommendations what we have suggested, then I think it's a kind of not a right thing to do, right? There is no reduction in greenhouse. So tracking how much fertilizers they have put, do the hand holding with the farmers. That's exactly as a soil sense we are doing. So our solution is partner with on-ground partners. So this is one of the pictures you see on the top is from Jharkhand, one of the FPC from CINI. That bottom you see is one of the FPOs, or rural agripreneur, who is going onto the ground and doing soil testing for the farmers and instantly giving results. In last 1.5 years, we have shown actually 40% reduction in the chemical inputs with the real data. Right? These are not the numbers I'm just putting as an estimate. It's actually the real numbers. We have shown reduction in the water by 25 to 30%, and the productivity has not actually reduced. Productivity has in fact improved because there's no crop loss due to rotting, right? The lands are improving. Organic carbon. So these are some pictures you can see. As a soil sense, what is our responsibility is to provide all the resources needed, like soil testing machines, our soil monitoring terraport, all the consumables, accessories, mobile apps, dashboards, training to them. So we provide training to them. We go, sometimes we do, because our systems are so simple, we do online training. we do offline training. Depends on. To Jharkhand, you see here, this one of the second picture is training at Jharkhand with one of those species. Here it is Bosco Gramin training all the women farmers to become a kind of what you call soil science ambassadors or kushikas, you can say. These are the people. We teach them how to do the soil sample, how to geotag the farm, how to do the soil testing, how to interpret the results. I mean, we get complete reports, and how to take it to the farmers, what hand holding is needed. All that we do as a soil sense. A lot of trainings we provide, awareness camps we do. And as a FPO, what they do is, once they get all this, they actually go to the farmers. Either they can go on field, or they can actually get the soil samples collected and do the soil testing in the lab, and then provide advisories to the farmers. In fact, some FPOs also have inputs, and they also provide them the inputs based on our reports. So this is how our system works. If there are any FPOs, they can understand how we work. So there is a very simple device that gets just connected to a mobile phone, like a glucometer. You have a mobile app, instantly you test, and you download the report. With it not just gives the interpretation, but also what needs to be done. So if you are applying how much urea or whatever organic fertilizer you want to apply, you do that. So what we have done as a soil science is, we have reduced all your 15 days to maybe maximum 10-15 minutes of soil testing, right? This is how it works. I think I'll not go into details of it. It's very simple to use, and we have trained school children, rural school children, women farmers, rural youths, farmer producer organization members, FPCs, foundations. So many we have provided. This is an actual data from one of the cluster in Maharashtra for the onion farmers, that how much they were using fertilizer, what is the cost they were using, and how much now they have reduced with our technology, and how much fertilizer reduction has happened, and how much in terms of the input cost, so that the profitability of the farmers have increased. This is another technology that we have used, which is for moisture monitoring. So you take this device. I forgot to put a picture of a farmer using in Gujarat. So that's a woman farmer who takes this device, collects the data. So you're actually generating moisture maps. The whole moisture maps are generated, and then based on that, you do the irrigation, right? And apart from that, we have other technologies, but I would leave more time for the question and answers. So what we have done is, I think you can go to our LinkedIn or our channel and see the testimonials from the farmers, and it has improved their input. This you can see on the map, that where all we are there in the world, that in Africa and in Indonesia, and also we are going to Thailand through some foundations now. So yeah, this is my end slide. If any more questions, I can take that.
Thank you, Rajul madam, for the informative session. Actually, you made all of us to think again about FPOs collaborating with a startup, and say like FPO provides the necessary scale and access to fields, while the startup offers the technology and expertise. So you have shown this with a live example of your startup, and this symbiotic relationship accelerates the adoption of new technologies at ground level and drives innovation in agriculture sector. And the objective of Soil Sense to empower farmers through collaboration with FPOs is an inspiring business model, madam. So, and also the main point that you discussed about your startup, that is NutriSense, TerraStation, TerraPort, and AquaSense, working on soil moisture detection, etc. I think it will definitely help all the farming community. So thank you, madam. And participants, we are open for questions. If you have any queries, you can directly post in the chat box. And we will be unmuting few attendees. Whoever are having queries, you can raise your hands. So let's take few questions, madam. Rajul madam and Anjali madam, you both are there?
There.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is one question from Mr. Ajit Das. So how much is the price of soil test kit? I think Rajul madam, this question is for you.
Yeah. So they can, I'm putting my number here. They can directly send me a WhatsApp and I will discuss with them. But having said that, everything is below 60,000, 65,000, you will get the machine and you will also get some consumables to start your soil testing. But I can discuss that with individual FPOs or whoever it is. So I put down my number. I'll also put down my email ID that they can actually contact me, and then I can pass it on, and we can also provide online demonstration to them to understand the technology.
Sure, madam. Mr. Ajit Dadas, I think your question is answered. You can directly contact the speaker. Speaker contact details are already given in the chat box. And taking up the next question, we have a question from Alok Kumar Pandey. So he is asking about what are the reagents we added in soil solution to test the soil pH. Rajul madam, I think this question is to you.
Yeah, I'll say for specifically for pH, this is our reagent which I have put, but we already have our own proprietary reagents. As I said, this is more like a glucometer. So we have our own reagents and sensors. So when you contact us, we provide you everything. We are based out of Pune in Maharashtra. And of course, one of the demo kit is also there in Hyderabad with one of our coordinator. He's Mr. Bhupesh Kumar. He was earlier in Rich. Now he's but he has one of our kits. So anybody who needs demonstration in Hyderabad can also be arranged in some way.
Mr. Alok, so you can contact Rajul madam directly after this session. And taking up the next question, we have Mr. Dr. Abhishek Mani Tripathi. So he just mentioned that he is looking partnerships from agri-tech and climate tech and startups working with FPOs. So it seems that he wants to collaborate with you, madam, with both
Sure,
of you.
I'm open to collaborations. Yeah. So Abhishek, I think maybe we are in some common group. I know the name is very familiar, but I'm not so sure. So you can contact me at least. Yeah.
Yeah, so there is another question from Akil. He says that he is interested in the development of environmentally friendly sensor technologies and soil sense. Is it involved in any research or development of biodegradable wireless sensors?
He can again contact me. I'm involved in a lot of research and with different organizations. So he can again contact me. We can discuss about that. We ourselves are like our major of the time goes in R&D only because we are more of an R&D focused company. So we have currently come up with soil testing of macronutrients. We are also going into micro. We are also going into, and our sensors are actually biodegradable sensors because these are paper-based sensors. And we are also going to water quality. And yesterday, I was discussing with someone where we also want to go for PTOL analysis, leaf analysis. So anybody, students, any people, any organization who is interested in collaborating for research, I'm very open to it.
Yeah. Any others? If you have any queries, you can kindly raise your hands. Saurabh, can you help me with unmuting participants? There is one participant who is.
Sorry, can I ask questions? I have question for Anjali.
Sure, madam, definitely.
Yeah. So Anjali, one thing I want to know, I think I had asked that question and some person, Naga, has replied to it, is that how much of fertilizer reduction corresponds to one carbon credit, and how do you track whether that farmer has actually, how do you track greenhouse gas emissions, whether in sensors or you're just estimating it?
So majorly, so for the first part is the like reduction in the fertilizers. So basically every like the GHG emission is there. So that is like converted into the CO2 equivalents. So there are like some standard like for the like 287 of the CO2 emission like the grams. So it's equivalent to 1 gram of the nitrogen emission, like the nitrous emission that is there. So first of all, like converting like all the emission to this, and already like there are some standard emission factors that are there for each of the like the emission, like each of the gas or each of the fertilizer that is there. For example, like for the this nitrogenous fertilizer, so the emission factor is 2.1, and phosphorus 0.6 and potassium 0.2. So already like this research is
Put down
there.
those numbers here.
Where
I think, can you put down those numbers here, what each corresponds to?
yes, sure.
Thank you. Because this is
more
where
details, we may get later on also, because better to give time for the other participants.
Sure, definitely,
Maybe
definitely.
speakers
I'll contact with
also
Anjali.
can get,
Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Anjali madam, there is one question from Santosh Kumar to you. So carbon credit work, how can I start with my FPO farmers?
Basically, so it starts with the baseline and the historical practices that are there, the farmers have been doing, and what kind of improvement, like with our intervention, we can do. Also, you can, if you started your FPU like 3 years back or 5 years back, you can claim the historical carbon credits also. So for up to like 5 years of the practices. So if the sustainable practices started 5 years back, we get the historical data of the practices that were like before your intervention and now like after your intervention. So after the baseline study and what kind of interventions we can do, so the farmers can be enrolled, creating. So the first step is creating like the PDD and creating one account on one of the registries that are there. For example, Plan Vivo is the one of the registry, and this Vera is one of the registries. Gold Standard is one of the registry. So looking at the farmers, and so you have to read little bit about the registries and looking at the farmers and the practices. For example, like for the anaerobic emissions and for AWD practices related to the rice. So the Gold Standard has like particular one methodology that is there. So depending upon the practices, you can go for like one methodology.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Santosh Kumar, I hope your query is clear. And there is one question to both of you. Like it is a general question from Ishwar. Can you say in agriculture business the profits are more? Madam, both of you can contribute to this question.
Anjali can go first.
Yes. So basically, in terms of profit, so we have seen like the trends, like where the farmers has to pay, and the paying amount is like large. So farmers are generally like reluctant to adopting like any solution. So if it's an app or if it's like any technology and this, and that's why MAM is also going through the established channels like FPOs or the implementing with the partners, because establishing like that kind of trust and that kind of like the maybe like credibility among the farmers, so it's very difficult. So paying is a problem. Most of the farmers are the smallholder farmers, and paying is a problem from the farmer side. So it depends on like which farmers like you are trying to tap in. For the majority of the farmers, paying is a problem. If you are having a very accessible solution, and maybe like you can make a like big business out of it, and it should be very relevant to the farmer also. That's like one more point. Yes, it's very like complex. I think I'm done with answer. Rajul ma'am, you can go.
Yeah. So what Anjali said, it is very complex. It is very true that it is quite kind of complex. Again, it's not that farming is not profitable, and we can't say the farming is profitable. There are certain cash crops and like grape farmers, pomegranate farmers. In fact, it is quite profitable for them. But then again, climate change, anything happens, and then you lose all the crops. So then again, it becomes difficult. So it's that way. But having said that, if you keep on, so I generally would like to say, if you do things the way it has been going on and we are doing it, we will not change anything. It will be same thing. But if you really want to make agriculture profitable and sustainable, more than profitable, it has to become sustainable. You have to start looking at your traditional knowledge and bring in some kind of a scientific way of doing farming. If you start doing scientific way of farming over the years, maybe not immediately, you will not see some profit in the next 1 year or 2 years, but over some time you will start seeing agriculture becoming profitable, because it can become profitable provided there is a science also behind the agriculture.
I definitely agree with you, madam. And that's
that
a
is
very
where,
valid.
yeah, so, sorry, thanks. And that is where I think we need people like Manage and creating these webinars, creating this awareness, and where all we can all collaborate together and make it. Sorry, I had to just complete that one sentence. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sure, madam. No, I definitely agree with both of you, madam. The thing which you mentioned in related to agriculture business is very true. It's not just like any other business that is usually done. And Mr. Ishwar, I hope you got some clarity on this. And there is one more question to Anjali ma'am from Mr. Bhushan. Where can we learn all basics of carbon credits?
Yes, again, like it depends on what kind of carbon credits you are looking at. Because there are like multiple ways. Like one is the agroforestry is the one thing where you earn the carbon credits. Waste management is one thing where you earn the carbon credits. Again, like I mentioned about the soil-based sequestration, it's called improved land management, where you earn the carbon credits. If you are looking for specific to learn about in the agriculture only about learning about the carbon credits and the basics, then I think Indigo Ag. It's Indigo Ag is the one of the first organizations to start the region-based carbon credits, and they have it's called Indigo Ag College, and there is course carbon farming in this. So that's like one where like you can learn carbon credits. I'm putting it in the chat box also. It's called Indigo Ag College. Another one is you can visit FAO. FAO has great resources like for the overall for the food, agriculture, and for the carbon credits also. And learning about if you want to go in details and the calculation and the IPCC standards that are there, then you can go for GHG inventory for agriculture. So this is one course. I'm putting its name and the organization. So you can go to FAO online and you can learn more about the course like in the carbon credit in the agriculture specific.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Bhushan, I think your query is clear. We'll take up few questions directly from participants, ma'am. So, Mr. Santosh, your hand is raised. Are you there, Mr. Santosh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you want to ask anything to our speakers?
To Anjali, ma'am.
Yes.
To Anjali, ma'am. Yeah. Please talk a little loudly.
You have suggested your my questions about how it works with, but I want to ask you again about it. How we will start the this kind of facility to our farmers, because we have the FPO, and currently we are working with number of FPOs and running approx 4 military store in Lucknow, that is the capital city of Uttar Pradesh. And it is also requirement for the farmers for the future for carbon credit. How we will start it?
Sir, we'll need like the what kind of work you are doing and how we can build like on this. Maybe I'll share my contact number and you can contact later.
There is no your
so basically, yes, the kind of practices that you are doing like currently, and
recently the all type of practices we are doing in our agriculture system with the help of fertilizer and with the help of different kinds of pesticide. We are producing the crops like wheat, pulses, vegetables, etc. And carbon credit is the future of world, not only India but all over world.
Yes.
So
right.
mostly we have to understand about it because we are the entrepreneur and we are the key person of approximately 500 to 1,000 farmers. That's why we have to firstly understand ourselves. And if we understand self, we can try to understand and try to train the farmers. How can we get the benefit of these things? Because we are running the soil testing lab from last 3.5 years. Farmers are not aware about it. We try many things with the help of officers, DM, SDM, etc. But they are doing old practices, they are not getting well about it. We also giving them free of cost soil testing, but they are not aware about it. So it is a difficult task. As someone
Yes.
asked, is the agriculture beneficiary
Profitable.
product or the lost product? I know everyone know about it. Without food, we cannot live, but it is the very difficult task.
Yes.
So please, how can we start the carbon credit with my farmers? And to also, second question to ma'am, the device which is working without electricity, also share.
I don't know.
Mr. Santosh Kumar, actually, sorry to interrupt, madam. For further detailed discussion, if you want to have with Anjali madam, you can directly email her. Her email contact details are already shared in the chat box.
Ma'am, I did not found there. That's it.
It is already shared in the chat box. So we will be resharing it.
Resend, please, please.
Yeah. So, madam, there is one more question actually I would like to take up. That is from Abhishek Kumar. What are the main platforms for trading carbon credits?
Yes. So one is the registry only, the third organization where you register your project, and the registry I mentioned are mainly Vera, Clean Development Mechanism, Gold Standard, and Plan Vivo, Puro.earth, depending on the kind of project you are doing. So once the project is verified, they put the project on their registry, like this is the project, this is verified, and this is the amount of carbon credit they are doing. Also, you share the whole data room for the transparency about the practices, the MRV that you are doing on the field. So one way is to go directly when it is published, it is verified and it's published on the registry. Then you can yourself find buyers for uh, for your carbon project. So that's there. If you have you can reach out to corporates, and you can reach out to maybe the outside of India, who are mandated to have to go net zero, have mandated to reduce some kind of GHG emission. Another one is there are some, so this is very in the evolution wala stage and the carbon markets, and we don't know what turns it's going to take, but there are some more organizations that are coming up and who are solving for the market intelligence for the carbon credits, right? So one of the people we are in talk with is Abatable. So it's UK based organization, and they provide market intelligence for the carbon projects that you are developing. So they'll help you find the best match, who can be the buyers, but there is some platform fee. And already there's so much of the operations heavy and the capex heavy, the whole ecosystem. So if you can find the buyers on your own, that's the best once the project is verified. Otherwise, there are some services that you can use from outside also.
Thank you, ma'am, and Mr. Abhishek. I hope your doubt is clear. Madam will just take up another two more questions, and we'll raise. Actually, one participant has a query. Mr. Manoj Kumar, are you there? We have unmuted you. Mr. Manoj Kumar.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. So you have raised your hand. If you have any query, please ask.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, miss. Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. We want to do AWD project, ma'am. Actually, we did a existing plantation in 4 projects. Initial listing is completed in Vela. So we want to AWD project. So in that project, how many credits will generate per hectare?
Vera and Gold has methodology, but the one is again the monitoring is the one of the issue. And so our tech partners, they did one project with one more organization that is there. So you have to, so you already registered with Vera. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I registered already Vera for projects, but that is ARR projects. Actually, we want to AWD project. So, how many credits will generate and what is the monitoring mechanism? If you have any idea on that, please tell me. Because in
Yeah.
Telangana, is a large scope to do AWD project.
Yes, yes. So basically, you have to like for the different activities that you are doing. So there are like the different methodology you have to use. For example, 047 like you must have used for the ARR project, and 042 like used for the ALM. So ALM is like currently included like in this. The AWD is like currently included here, but I would suggest like to go with the gold one, because gold standard has like the methodology separately for calculation of the prevention of the GHG emission using the AWD methodology. So you have to like for you can't integrate AWD project with the agroforestry project basically. So you have to separately like register one more project for the AWD.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. I
Yeah.
want another question, ma'am. For
Yes.
water, how much moisture is in that, and how can we identify the technology? Is there any technology for that? Is there any sensor for that to identify the how much moisture is present in that field?
Moisture question, I think Rajul ma'am can answer better. Like that's the technical, more from the carbon side. Yeah.
So moisture, we have systems for moisture measurement. So you can again contact me if you want those technologies. We have all the technologies for soil monitoring, nutrient, moisture, weather, humidity, all that parameters. So.
And to add to that, I would like to add like in the starting when we started, so we had like very basic questions and this. So if you read the methodology, so all the answers like lies there. So currently we are not doing like a AWD project like right now, but I can share like some resources where you can get your answers, like more clarification about the AWD project. And also I can connect you to a few people like who are already doing AWD to know about the scale you need for the entire like project and the kind of the resources that you'll be needing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, madam, for answering very patiently all the questions. Thank you, Rajal madam. Thank you, Anjali madam. And this webinar has come to end as it is already 12 o'clock. Thank you, dear attendees and speakers, for actively taking part in this webinar. And no problem, dear attendees, if you have any more queries, you can always contact our speakers. Our speaker details are already posted in chat box multiple times. So kindly refer to that and you may contact them. And I like to thank Dr. Sharvanan sir for providing us with this Saturday webinar series, which is always providing extensive knowledge on very new topics. Thank you, Sharvanan sir. Thank you, Manoj. And I thank every one of you who are taking part in this webinar.
Thank you, Anjali madam and Rajul madam. It is nice to hear you both of you. It is very nice. We'll keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.